Manny, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. Scott, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening. Pablo, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? About to say, let's go, Frankie brother. How you doing? Free and Flavor, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. Frankie brother, let's go. Comatose, good to see you as well. How you doing? Doing good, my mental. Let's go, Scott. Marius, good to see you as well. How you doing? And the rest of the family, let's go. Deso, good to see you as well. How you doing? Michael, how you been? Sula, good to see you as well. Evening. Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. I sent you a DM earlier when your time permits. Scott, I'll check it out after the live show. Apologies about that. Check it out after the live show. Okay, I just read, I got a notification from JP for putting a comment under the video. But welcome to the CMF live show. By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting this live show right now. Thanks so much to everyone that's retweeting this live show right at the beginning, and also liking this live show as well on X for the retweets and likes and getting notifications. Thank you so much for that, everyone. And also thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who's also liking the live show as well. George, good to see you. How you doing? Alex, hi Miles and family. Let's go. How you doing, Alex? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? So, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever on this live show, every single night you can tune in. I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, things for you to know about that are basically vital information for you to know about regarding the world going fully digital. And this year, obviously, being when the world does start completely transforming into a digital era. Now, we do have a mixture of news to go for on tonight's live show as usual, but plus with live Q&As inside the comment section. So, on tonight's live show, we are going to be going through the news topics of Franklin Templeton. So, Franklin Templeton apparently fires the first shots into crypto index funds. Now, for about a week now, there's been rumors that Franklin Templeton wants to get involved in cryptocurrencies. Now we have confirmation that they have entered the ranks. So, Franklin Templeton, up to $1.5 trillion in assets, they have entered the ranks into cryptocurrencies, which is a massive deal. So we're going to be talking about that topic particularly on tonight's live show. We're also going to be talking about Brian Armstrong and Elon Musk on tonight's live show as well. Regarding Elon Musk essentially calling out the governments, the US government especially, regarding inflation and how the Fed is printing too much and it's not really helping the scenario whatsoever. And Brian Armstrong weighing in his opinion, and we'll go through that topic on tonight's live show. And I'll weigh in my opinion and anybody else's opinion inside the comment section on that matter of inflation and how cryptocurrencies is what Elon Musk pretty much said, and Brian Armstrong said, the CEO of Coinbase, that cryptocurrencies can hedge against that if they're used properly. We're also going to go through the topic of Goldman Sachs on tonight's live show as well. Goldman Sachs' analyst said that the Feds will enter interest rate cut series is what's going to be happening. So apparently to Goldman Sachs, there isn't going to be just one type of rate cut and that's it for this year. We're going to go through a series of rate cuts. Now, we're also going to be talking about the topic of Turkey on tonight's live show as well. A lot of countries are opening their borders, you can say, to cryptocurrency platforms and giving out quite a lot of licensings, and Turkey is pretty much on that list. They are also massive in terms of the retail section coming inside the crypto space. If I'm not mistaken, they are the fourth largest cryptocurrency investors in the entire world in terms of the retail section. And they're opening their doors in a lot of cryptocurrency platforms. I'm going to be discussing the ones that just pretty much got green lighted from Turkey. Now, we're also going to be going through the topic of Chinese banks on tonight's live show as well. Some interesting things have came up, which is the Chinese banks are rejecting Russian payments. This is something that I talked about a while ago, and I recently brought it up again, but it's where this whole BRICS situation comes in. And then when you had the first time around India trying to pay for oil, and Russia didn't accept the Indian rupees, but BRICS is about collective currencies. And now we have China rejecting Russia's payments. And I'll tell you why once we get to that news. We're also going to be talking about a quite interesting topic on tonight's live show regarding AI technology and how AI technology can be influenced if you essentially feed it multiple fake articles and multiple fake posts. The AI tends to take that information and feed it to everybody else as if it's genuine information. So we'll go through that on tonight's live show as well, about a particular government essentially coming around and influencing ChatGPT, OpenAI on what to say to people. We're also going to be talking about PayPal on tonight's live show as well. So PayPal's essentially co-founders, PayPal's co-founder was on Joe Rogan's show, and he talked about how Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are advancing too quickly and the regulations aren't there to fit it yet. We're also going to be talking about Bitcoin in the matter of the United States government, and is the United States government actually selling off their Bitcoins, which is a crucial topic without a doubt inside the crypto space, because we know the German government have to sell off their Bitcoins due to a regulation they have in Germany where they're not allowed to hold a certain asset based on a certain seized asset on the basis for it to grow in value. They're supposed to get rid of it. That is why Germany sold off their Bitcoins. Now, apparently the US Marshals are sparking speculation of Silk Road assets are on the verge to be sold. So is the US getting ready to sell off their Bitcoins? It's quite a big topic. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding the European central banks and how the European central banks want digital euros. But 4 countries are apparently saying no to CBDC, which is absolutely a load of BS, and I'll explain why when we get to that news. Now, on another interesting topic that we're going to be going through on tonight's live show as well, towards the end of the live show, is regarding a Swiss technology company that's developed AI using human brains. Not even joking about that one. And it's not just one human brain. This AI technology firm in Switzerland has just developed. It's multiple human brains connected to each other for data storage for AI technology, which you can rent. Not even joking about that one either. But we're going to go through that one towards the end of the live show. Now, before we go through those news topics, but the first news we're going to go through on tonight's live show is regarding Franklin Templeton, is the first news topic we're going to cover on tonight's live show. Franklin Templeton essentially entering the ranks of cryptocurrencies and ETFs, which is major news because they have $1 trillion asset under management, which is a ridiculous figure to have on the assets under management. But that's the first news cover we're going to go through on tonight's live show. But before we go through that, welcome to the CMF live show once again. If you're watching this for the first time ever on this live show, every single night you can tune in on YouTube or X, and I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulations, and politics. Everything for you to know about regarding this vital future we're going to be living in, this digital future we're going to be living in. So the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So welcome once again. If you are new and if you're regular, let's go CMF. The live show has officially started now. And we also do live Q&As as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I read everybody's comments one by one, give you response as well on live right now. So let's see where we are in the comment section before we go through the first news. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening, Miles of CMF. Let's go. G, hi, Miles. Give us the good news. Those are the news I was going to cover on tonight's live show. What's cooking today, brother? Let's go, thank you, brother. Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. Morning, Miles of CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. Morning. I'm self-proclaimed military attaché for Miles. You are with him or you are not. Roll with the CMF or get rolled over. Let's go, Scott. Support Miles in the CMF. My cousin Deso is on here. He's new to crypto, and I'm hoping he can learn from you and the CMF. Let's go, Joe. Well, Joe's cousin, Deso, welcome to the CMF live show. Happy Pisces, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? I cannot see the US selling off their Bitcoin unless it's for XRP. Let's go, JP. Hey, Dale, good to see you as well. How you doing? Even Miles and CMF. Marv, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? So, first news on tonight's live show is Franklin Templeton, which is massive. I mean, about a week back, we had essentially Morgan Stanley coming in with 15,000 financial advisors, and now we have Franklin Templeton coming in the ranks as well. So, Franklin Templeton fires first shot in crypto index funds. The American multinational investment firm Franklin Templeton has taken a significant step to strengthen regarding its presence in the rapidly growing cryptocurrency market by planning to launch a crypto index exchange traded fund ETF. Franklin Templeton waits for the SEC's approval right now. According to its S1 filings they recently did inside the United States with the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC, it is proposed that the ETF gives investors exposures to the digital asset by initially holding two of the most prominent cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ethereum. This means that Franklin Templeton recognizes the increasing demand for cryptocurrencies investment options for retail and institutional investors. According to their submission, this upcoming crypto index fund will be structured as a weighting product, with the weightings determined by the individual components' market cap. This unified index fund represents a new venture for the firm, which could enhance its influence on certain areas of the ETF market space. Furthermore, the digital asset firm will also put essentially its pricings for the fund of the CF Bitcoin and the Ethereum reference rate. Whether the SEC will approve the product is the main consideration for now. However, it's hard to predict since the filing is very still new. Now, Korea also mounts pressure on regulators for crypto ETFs as well. Now, we do have Franklin Templeton essentially entering the rankings regarding ETF market space regarding Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is massive. Franklin Templeton coming in, and about a week back ago, we had Morgan Stanley coming in. So also some movements are happening in Korea as well. Now, Koreans have requested that spot ETFs get approved for trading in their nation, citing the latest developments in the United States. Because the US is moving forward with this entire ETF space, and it was the indication that the world needed for ETFs to happen. So Korea now wants to get involved heavily in ETFs as well. So notably, the United States SEC approved Ethereum ETFs for trading that month, sending the broad crypto markets into magnitudes of happiness. This comes 4 months after the same regulators as greenlight and spot Bitcoin ETFs, trading proposed by BlackRock, Fidelity, Grayscale, Bitwise, and other players. The intense request for crypto ETF consideration by Koreans was expected, as the FSC and the FSS had previously tried to dim the light on the subject. Meanwhile, Jung In-jung, the head of Korean Stockholders Alliance, thinks that FSC and FSS should reconsider their stance on their crypto ETFs matter. Especially, he thinks that Korea should make a U-turn and follow the US path regarding digital asset ETF. Now, BlackRock also has become the biggest crypto ETF out there right now as well. BlackRock has just done another milestone. BlackRock achieved a significant milestone in the cryptocurrency market with its ETF surpassing Grayscale on-chain holdings. Now, Grayscale once upon a time did have the biggest portfolio on Bitcoin, also Ethereum as well. Now, BlackRock has just passed Grayscale, which is massive. Reported by CoinRise, the BlackRock holds essentially $21.2 billion in ETFs, while Grayscale only holds $21.202, which is about $14 million less than BlackRock. Now, BlackRock's spot BTC ETF reached an exceeding amount of 300,000 Bitcoins in its assets under management in June after 5 months of trading. Undoubtedly, the IBIT spot BTC ETF's rapid accumulation of assets has followed it to surpass assets under management of Grayscale's GBTC fund, which is recently converted into an ETF. BlackRock swift overtaking of Grayscale highlights the competitive edge and the market trust in digital asset players has come to the cryptocurrency space. So 3 topics was in one article, but one, BlackRock has just done a new milestone. So while people are in the retail section a bit jittery on what to buy, what not to buy, or should be entering inside the market space, the institutions are still buying, and essentially BlackRock is still doing new milestones. So the institutions are still buying is all you need to know. The second topic that we went from tonight's live show regarding this news article was essentially Korea. Now, Korea is quite big. South Korea is very big on cryptocurrencies. Ironically, so is North Korea. But North Korea hacks their way into owning cryptocurrencies, while South Korea buys their way into cryptocurrencies. Big difference. But South Korea is very, very big on XRP. If you look at the trading volumes in South Korea, they tend to be more volume towards XRP than there is towards Bitcoin and Ethereum in certain months and periods or weeks. So with South Korea going into the ETF market space, we could have our very own first XRP ETF coming out of South Korea before anywhere else. You never know. But South Korea is definitely pushing for ETFs right now. Also, on the topic of Franklin Templeton coming inside the crypto space, Franklin Templeton regarding coming inside the crypto space is absolutely massive because it shows essentially confidence towards the crypto markets. Because if you have somebody like BlackRock in the ranks and you have Morgan Stanley entering with 15,000 financial advisors, which is probably the indication that Franklin Templeton needed to enter the market space, but all the big names are pretty much inside the crypto space regarding market ETFs, which shows massive confidence towards crypto assets, but also shows massive confidence to their investors that they are pretty much interested in crypto assets. So that is definitely massive news regarding Franklin Templeton without a doubt. Now, Brian Armstrong, but the other two is also impressive news regarding South Korea doing a U-turn on ETFs and BlackRock doing another milestone, which is an indication that institutions are still buying. Now, Brian Armstrong is the next news we're going to go through on tonight's live show. So Brian Armstrong essentially came out supporting Elon Musk. Elon Musk did a tweet regarding the US government, the Fed, printing too much, as usual, and creating more inflation, and that people's tax-paying money in the US is not actually going back to them in some sort of a way by fixing their roads or helping with their homes or medications or lowering groceries or gas or so on. That tax-paying money is not being recycled back into the economy, and that the Fed is just printing while taking taxpayers' money. And Brian Armstrong decided to support this matter regarding Elon Musk's tweet, and he said that cryptocurrencies could be the solution. So Brian Armstrong supports Elon Musk. Elon Musk's call for reduced government spending to tackle inflation. Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, has supported Musk's views by essentially linking unchecked government spending to inflation. Armstrong has expanded the conversation to include cryptocurrencies, offering Bitcoin as a viable inflation against hedging against inflation. He defines Bitcoin as a check and balance against the depreciation of existing currencies caused by the excessive money production. Armstrong also believes that investing in Bitcoin is a proactive action against inflation. Tech entrepreneur and billionaire Elon Musk suggests that cutting back on unnecessary expenditures by the US government is an excellent way to combat inflation. In a recent statement released on X by Elon Musk, he blamed the rise of inflation on the government's budgetary usage, namely its tendency to spend over its earnings. Elon Musk said to regulate inflation properly, excessive government spending should be reduced. Cryptocurrency and economic stability. In response to Elon Musk's tweet about inflation, Brian Armstrong highlighted Bitcoin's capped supply of 21 million coins as a fundamental characteristic that shields it from inflation reaching, unlike fiat currencies that can be printed without limit. He suggests that cryptocurrencies can provide a more stable and store of value during economic uncertainties. This perspective gained relevance as Armstrong announced the plans for its new initiative, the Coinbase 500, to introduce a cryptocurrency index fund to broaden investment opportunities in the crypto sector. Now, that particular news regarding Coinbase 500 was a news that I revealed a week ago, but Brian Armstrong wanted to put that news in once again, that Coinbase is building the Coinbase 500. And if you don't know what that is, I revealed this massive news actually from Coinbase about a week ago, that just like we have the essentially S&P 500 and Index 500 of companies that are flourishing inside the United States market space, the top 500 companies, we're also going to be having some sort of a Coinbase 500 with the top 500 cryptocurrencies, is what Coinbase is aiming to do, where you can just invest into the Coinbase 500 and have a range of cryptocurrencies under your belt. Just like the S&P 500, but a Coinbase 500. Now, market responses and future prospects, the debate between lowering government spending and using cryptocurrencies as an inflation hedge, it comes with US inflation has shown essentially signs of slowing, falling to 2.89% in July from 2.97% in June. This ongoing essentially conversation reflects a broader concern about fiscal responsibility and the search for durable economic solutions. As the cryptocurrency industry continues to evolve, figures like Armstrong remain at the forefront of advocating for its role in addressing key financial issues. This disclosure of inflation, initiated by prominent figures like Elon Musk and Brian Armstrong, underscores the intersection of government's policies, economic theories, and the emerging role of digital currencies and financial systems. Their comments reflects a significant interest in defining economic stability's future through the policy reform and technological innovations. Yes, I do believe without a doubt that cryptocurrencies are way better than fiat currencies. Yes, without a doubt. 100%, because fiat, they're printing left, right, and center too much. And it's not just the US that's printing too much. Every country is printing too much. But some countries do tend to print a lot more. But you've also got to understand why the US prints a lot more, because the US dollar dominates the entire financial market of the world, not just for the US. So the reason why the US is always printing more than any other country is because they're pretty much spinning the whole world on the US dollar. So there's a reason why they're printing a lot more. But on the topic of, is the US government printing too much beyond what they should be printing? Yes. Are they wasting too much US dollars? Yes. And this whole scenario of also what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia situation, where Ukraine has taken over some small cities outside of the border of Russia, they're really trying to poke the bear. And by poking the bear, I mean Putin, on starting some sort of a World War III scenario. But Putin's never going to start it because he's not stupid. But just wanted to add that one in. But regarding they are printing too much, and obviously most of the money that the US does print does fund wars, but also wars generate a lot of money, which a lot of people don't understand till this day. But wars are only for money, and the US, there's a reason why they keep on starting wars, because they have to sell weapons. If they sell weapons, they make money. That's just how the world works and operates. Now, Goldman Sachs is the next news we're going to go through. But I completely agree with, essentially Brian Armstrong and Elon Musk, that the US is printing beyond what they should be printing. I completely agree. And cryptocurrencies can be used as a hedge against inflation. Now, I'm not really sure if Bitcoin is the perfect choice, because anything can be manipulated to any cryptocurrencies. So, but I agree with the fact that cryptocurrencies can be used as a hedge against inflation. Are they being used as a hedge against inflation? Not really. In reality, cryptocurrencies are not being used as a hedge against inflation for now, because they're being heavily manipulated. Once the CPI data comes out and, the inflation is too high, the US is printing too much still, Bitcoin doesn't react the way it's supposed to, and that does the majority of crypto space. It follows the stock market, same way the CPI data does. But that's only because I said this previously as well. Look at who's holding Bitcoin. US government is holding Bitcoin, Germany is holding Bitcoin, Russia is holding Bitcoin, Chinese government are holding Bitcoin, Iran's government are holding Bitcoin, North Korea's government are holding. If you look at the list of people that are holding Bitcoin, and then you look at the list of Bitcoin mining corporations, and you get to see who's behind those on majority shareholders, you would understand why Bitcoin is also manipulated. Yes, nobody owns Bitcoin. Bitcoin is unanimous and is by multiple people agreeing to things on the network to give it a green light on something, in the simplest way to put it. But at price point, it can still be manipulated if you look at the list of governments who are holding it. Just a small example would be Germany. If a lot of people, are saying, no, Bitcoin can't be manipulated. Well, Germany was the last example. Look at the German government. They dropped a little Bitcoin. The entire market panicked. Anything can be manipulated. Yes, nobody owns Bitcoin, but price point is all that matters on Bitcoin especially. And it can be manipulated, because why price point matters the most on Bitcoin? Well, because it's supposed to be hedging against inflation. So the only thing it has is price point. Now, but I agree on the fact that they are printing too much and the money should be spent on people, but in reality, no government spends their money on people. But I still agree with Elon Musk and Armstrong. Now, Goldman Sachs is the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show. So Goldman Sachs' analysts have came out and said that the Feds will be entering an interest rate cut series. So apparently they're not expecting one rate cut to happen from Goldman Sachs analysts. They're expecting multiple, essentially, rate cuts to be happening inside the market space. Before we go through the news of Goldman Sachs, let's go inside the comment section first. By the way, if anyone's got any if anyone's got any questions, put it down to the comment section as well. Let's see. Welcome to the CMF Disa. You've come to the right place to learn. I knew nothing 18 months ago. Miles has taught me so much about this whole space. Let's go, Shelly. Thanks so much for the kind words. But yeah, Disa, definitely welcome to the CMF. Well, why Solana ETF was withdrawn? Yes, there are news going around that Solana ETFs were withdrawn by the two parties that did file in for Solana ETFs. Maybe they realized it's not a good choice holding Solana. But they'll probably refile, or if they don't, somebody else will. But as I said previously, Solana is pretty much the king of meme coins, and once the crowd pretty much slows down on meme coins, then Solana pretty much goes with it. I said this previously as well, that Solana used to be a VC coin. It used to be a venture capitalist coin when FTX was in charge. And then when FTX went out of the picture, it became a retail section meme coin. It was the only way to survive Solana was to turn it into a meme coin blockchain after FTX's collapse. And it's worked. Solana's doing well for itself, definitely, as the king of meme coins. But all empires must fall at one point. The king can fall. Is Cardano a dead coin now? Is Cardano a bad project, let's say? Look, Cardano is being used, and like a lot of people don't know about this idea as well, because I revealed a long time ago that Cardano is being used on Dubai's essential police force. So Dubai's police force and some Interpol projects are actually using Cardano for data purposes because they find it very secure. Now, obviously, Cardano's founder is definitely trying to push Cardano wherever he can, which I respect and understand. You want to push your project wherever you can. So I've seen Cardano's founder push his project onto Elon Musk before. So Elon Musk obviously is doing these whole X payments, which everybody's anticipating. Is there going to be any crypto projects? Is there not going to be any crypto projects? Is it going to be one crypto project, and so on? But Cardano's founder publicly has, reached out to Elon Musk multiple times to get Cardano accepted for X payments, and Elon Musk has ignored him. But I still respect him for reaching out. Cardano's founder for reaching out to Elon Musk, but Elon Musk ignored him. Cardano's founder reached out to multiple other essentially high-profile people as well within the politics world, and Cardano's founder once again got rejected. It's what it is. It's just there are better projects around. It's not that it's a terrible project. Cardano is not a terrible project, but there are better projects around. Nobody can call it a terrible project. There are so many terrible projects inside the crypto space that Cardano is above them. But there's also the issue is there's a lot of projects inside the crypto space that are above Cardano. So I would say it's a dead coin. I would say it's in between. It's not top of the range when it comes to cryptocurrencies regarding Cardano, but it's not at the bottom of the list either, but it's not top of the range. Also, your traffic lights analogy regarding XRP. And where are we now? Are we still waiting for an order for it to pump high? Yes. So we're still waiting for the 30-day period to end. We're waiting for the 60-day period to end as well. But it also comes back to what I said as well. I said, remember, going back, I said, imagine, the case comes to an end and the banks don't use it right off the bat. Remember anybody me saying this in 2023? And I said this also in 2024 as well, beginning of the year. I said, imagine the case comes to an end and nobody uses it, and the banks don't use it off the bat when the case comes to an end. And I said they're going to use it either way because we know they're going to use it based on the contracts, Bank of International Settlements and so on. But I said they're going to play the role, the card of frustration on you. And I said the last stage is going to be frustration. So never let frustration get to you. And I said they give you a time where everything comes to an end and nobody uses it. And you're thinking to yourself, why is no one using it? The case is ended and so on and so on. And then you're going to get frustrated and sell your bags one last time. So don't do that as well. I said that's an outcome as well. But the biggest issue right now is the 30-day period needs to end. There's a 30-day period where Ripple has to pay $125 million to. Also, there's a 60-day period where the SEC can appeal the case. So a 60-day period needs to pass as well for confidence that there's no more appeals on this case whatsoever. But the best part is the token itself is still regulated. No matter what appeal comes, it still won't do anything to the token of XRP. But the 60-day period and 30-day period need to pass. 30-day period is for Ripple to pay $125 million. 60-day period is for the SEC to appeal the case, which is the last thing we need. Because I said this before as well, if the SEC does appeal, it's going to do nothing to Ripple or so on. It's going to get rejected. However, it will make the price of XRP volatile the moment they do appeal, but it will get rejected. But the moment they do, for how long, a week or two or so on, before it gets rejected, it will make the market space volatile. But 30-day period, 60-day period needs to pass. Now, will XRP and XLM miss this bull run? Hell no. Also, we're talking about utility run here as well. So what's actually happening slowly is we're going to be going into a utility run, which is part two. I've always talked about part two. Part two is utility. Do not forget what's happening in part two, which is utility. Remember, the next clientele that are entering the crypto space right now, according to multiple sources from crypto platforms, the CEOs and executive board members, and me, before these multiple sources, it was just me who said that basically the institutions are the ones entering the crypto space in 2024. And then we have now multiple board members and executives and CEOs from multiple crypto platforms stating that essentially the next clientele is institutional investors in 2024. It's something that I told people before these multiple sources came out. And so please do not forget that a utility run is in progress. It's being built up to go into progress. Next clientele entering right now is institutional investors. Institutional investors are on a massive rise inside the crypto space right now. We have more regulations, more institutions, and more banks inside the crypto space than ever before in 2024. Do not forget the main purpose of cryptocurrencies, which is utility. So definitely they won't be missing anything. Utility. What's your thoughts on Origin, Miles? What's my thoughts on ARB? It's a good project. It has, look, I wouldn't say it's a bad project. I would say it's definitely a project to look into, is what I would say regarding ARB. Carol, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hyper Sniper, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? But if Ripple paid a fine within 30 days, then it's irrelevant for the 60-day appeal to be allowed. No, the 60-day period is still there because they can appeal. Doesn't make it irrelevant whatsoever. They can appeal still. Hi, Miles. The 60-day period needs to end. The 30-day period is for Ripple to pay the money. The 60-day period is if the SEC wants to appeal any part of the case. One particular part they can't appeal is the regulation regarding XRP, token itself. But they can appeal anything else they want to. It's not they're going to get accepted, but they can to cause disruption inside the market space. Hi, Miles. Just saw a video on XRP and Supermojo for payment processes for NFTs. Starter of Supermojo used to work at Ripple. Yep. And also Ripple and SPI are doing with CafeNet, the NFT project they're doing as well. But yep, that's true. Okay, thanks for explaining that, Miles. No problem, Joe, anytime. Now, Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs analyst says that Fed will enter interest rate cut series and shares expectations. Goldman Sachs is forecasting the Fed to cut interest rates on a series of occasions starting in September. The forecast comes ahead of the Jackson Hole Global Central Bank annual meeting next week. Next week, we're going to be having a bankers meeting where all the bankers come and sit at the same table, which is a massive meeting. I'm definitely keeping people updated on that meeting because it's where all these central bank members come and sit at the same table. So where the central bankers from around the world will be gathering to discuss monetary policies. Goldman Sachs's US economists predict a 25 basis point cut on the three meetings in September, November, and December, followed by a quarterly cut next year and another in 2026. That would bring the federal funds rate down significantly from 5.375% to around 3.75%. While this outlook points to a more dovish Fed than previously expected, it is important to note that Goldman Sachs's economists are not predicting a recession in the near future. Look at that. Goldman Sachs is not predicting a recession. Who else? I'm just wondering, who else said that Goldman Sachs, who else also said that we're not going to be going into a recession? So Goldman Sachs is predicting no recession. I also said there's no recession. We're going into voting. There's no way in hell we're going to be going into voting for the next presidential candidate whilst being in a recession. Look, they will pull anything they can to cause massive distraction, but a recession is not a distraction because it makes people vote for the opposite party. If we go into a recession, it makes the Biden administration look bad, worse than they are right now. Even the people who really, really, really hate Trump, if we go for a recession inside the United States, they will probably think to themselves, well, Biden's probably not the perfect choice. Or, essentially, Kamala's probably not the perfect choice. She's the VP and we're in a recession. So we cannot go into a recession when we're going into voting. It's just not possible. After the voting is done, after the next presidential candidate is done, we can go into a recession. That's no problem. But during voting, no recession. Any distraction will apply, but a recession distraction is just dumb. The market has shown, even Goldman Sachs is pretty much saying there's no recession on the way. The market has shown signs of resilience with S&P 500 index recoupling all of its losses from earlier this month and nearing an all-time high. But Goldman Sachs chief trader Tony warns against, essentially, he believes that trading conditions will remain volatile, which they will. He believes that especially as we head into a busy fall season from August when liquidity is tight. The Fed's decision on interest rates will depend largely on the economic data, particularly the jobs report and financial conditions. The analyst said a surprisingly weak jobs report or significantly tightening in financial conditions could prompt the Fed to act more aggressively than currently anticipated. So, regarding the Goldman Sachs situation, regarding Goldman Sachs's analyst, one, Goldman Sachs is not saying we're going to go into a recession any sort of way. They said recession is out of the picture from the roadmap. They also said that next week is going to be the massive central banks meetings. Every central bank member, essentially member is going to be attending this meeting from around the world. Central banks are coming together from around the world next week, where they're going to be discussing many things regarding monetary policies, which is definitely going to be important for you to know regarding how the market is going to play out from next week. So I'm definitely keep people updated on that matter as well. Maybe they will also discuss the topic of CBDCs and cryptocurrencies, but I'll definitely keep people updated on that matter as well. Now, Turkey. Turkey expands crypto license. So Brazil was one country that was opening its doors back to cryptocurrency platforms, and essentially Binance got a green light from Brazil recently. Binance also got a green light from India recently as well to operate. So once again, the retail section from Brazil and India can have access to it. Turkey is also opening its doors to cryptocurrency platforms and giving quite a lot of green lights and licensings. Turkey expands crypto licensing list to include Coinbase, KuCoin, and Gate. Now, Turkey is also fourth or fifth in terms of retail section buying cryptocurrencies. Turkey has just expanded its list of licensed cryptocurrency exchanges, adding heavyweights like Coinbase, KuCoin, Gate to the roster, and this brings the total number of licensed platforms in the country from 47 to a whopping 76 crypto platforms now have access to the retail section in Turkey. 76. With ongoing challenges inside the United States, Coinbase is looking to expand into markets where the regulatory framework is clear, essentially, and Turkey, with its recent changes, is the attractive option. This rush for licensing didn't happen in a vacuum. It follows the implementation of a new law in July 2024 that happened, which brought stricter regulations for crypto asset service providers. The law on amendments to the capital markets law has stated that if exchanges want to operate in Turkey, they need to play by the rules. The Capital Markets Bond, CMB of Turkey, is the body in charge, and they're not making it easy. Just because an exchange applies for a license, it doesn't mean they're going to get it. The CMB has set out a comprehensive criteria that exchanges must meet to gain official authorization. This includes providing detailed information about their operations, ensuring they comply with Turkey's strict regulatory requirements, and Turkey's move to tighten crypto regulations is seen as a way to protect investors and promote a safer trading environment. But it also reflects a broader trend in the region. Countries across the Middle East and North Africa are starting to take crypto regulations more seriously as the market grows, which is absolutely facts. Africa is definitely bringing out quite a lot of regulations in terms of cryptocurrencies, but positive regulations, so the market can move forward and bring innovation. And so is the Middle East. Gary Gensler should be taking notes, I'll be honest. Gary Gensler should definitely be taking notes from the Middle East and Asia and also Africa, because in terms of regulations and innovation, they're well ahead. Now, the next news to talk about tonight's live show is China. And this is quite important because the main thing, as I've said previously, and everybody says it as well, regarding BRICS, is they are one collective family when it comes to BRICS. That BRICS is about China, Russia, and India, and South Africa, and Brazil coming together. So Brazil, Russia, China, and India coming together, South Africa coming together regarding a collective of basket of currencies. And the main purpose of BRICS is everybody gets to share each other's currencies and they don't need the US dollar. Well, it seems like China has rejected Russian payments. The same way Russia rejected Indian rupees for oil and was accepting US dollars in return, is the same way China has just rejected Russia in terms of payments. But they're using a loophole, maybe on the verge of cryptocurrencies. But here is the thing why China has rejected Russia in terms of payments. You see, a while ago, I said to everybody that China has many contracts with the EU, with the US, with the UK, and the rest of the countries around the world. And I said that if China tries to, go beyond what they're supposed to do and do something they're not supposed to, the US will sanction China. And if the US sanctions China, yes, it will hurt the US economy, but it will hurt China's economy a lot more because China can't sell anything to a lot of jurisdictions around the world because they're sanctioned, which means China has produced so much products that there is no customers for. And they have to put everything on sale and pretty much sell it to BRICS nations if they buy it from them, which is very bad for China. So, because Russia is on this list of sanctioned countries, China has decided on paper not to accept payments, not to accept any sort of payments from Russia whatsoever, even though they are BRICS, even though China and Russia are BRICS members, official founding BRICS members, but they still won't accept payments from each other because they're scared of sanctions. It really does show you how much power the US has. Even though China babbles on all the time, they're going to be doing this and that, and so is Russia, they're both still scared of the US's power, even though they are BRICS and going against the US dollar, but they're still scared to do transactions with each other. Chinese banks reject Russian payments, boosting use of crypto. So there's a possible basically verge of a loophole happening. So it's not on paper. Because if it's on paper, it makes China look bad, which is not really good, which means they're probably next to get sanctioned. Chinese regional banks, once vital for processing Russian payments, are now rejecting these transactions due to concerns about secondary sanctions. This has led to a rise of alternative methods, such as cryptocurrencies, and a battle to maintain trade between Russia and China. The smooth flow of Russian-Chinese trades is now disputed as Chinese regional banks halt yuan-based transactions from Russia. China is so scared of accepting payments from Russia, they're not even accepting their own Chinese yuan from Russia. That's how bad it is. This change, reported by their own authorities, follows a pattern of banks pulling back due to fears of being hit by secondary sanctions. It was also confirmed by the bank, and it was notified that the bank payments are in complete suspension. Russian firms are exploring options like using Russian bank branches in China through the increase of cost by up to 5%. So Russia is thinking about increasing costs up to 5%. Maybe that works. Not really. Barter trading is also being considered, though it's not feasible for all goods. Cryptocurrencies is emerging as a key solution, with stablecoins being used by Russian metal producers for transactions with Chinese suppliers since June. As new laws regulating crypto payments comes into effect, their use in bypassing traditional financial systems and potential sanctions may become more prevalent. So, China is not even accepting Russian yuan from Russia, not even their own currency from Russia, because they're scared of getting sanctioned by the US. Even though BRICS comes on the news and says we're brave as a collective country, where you accept each other's currencies, they don't accept each other's currencies. They have a difficulty of accepting each other's currencies because they're still scared of the US sanctioning them. So, on that basis, regarding China, they're actually boosting their crypto payments is what's going to be happening. So now it explains that's why about a few days ago, Russia signed essentially some bills and some regulations and policies for crypto cross-border payments, because China is not accepting any payments from Russia on paper, because it might backfire and China might get sanctioned next, which means China's economy will go down the toilet pretty much, because nobody will buy a product of them. And their biggest markets are the US market space and the EU market space, which both will reject them after sanctions, which is not very good for not very good for China's economy. It will also damage US economy, but not as much as it will damage Chinese economies. So it seems like this is why Russia essentially put this law into motion regarding cross-border payments for cryptocurrencies, because they have no choice. Because even their own BRICS members are not doing business with them. A very long time ago, I said before BRICS starts, it might just fall apart. Let's just see how that plays out. Now, OpenAI. OpenAI is the next news we're going to talk about on tonight's live show because of AI manipulation. So AI manipulation is quite a major issue, AI manipulation. And one particular country has decided to manipulate the algorithm of OpenAI, ChatGPT, to give out fake responses and fake news to anyone that will ask it any sort of questions regarding the US presidential candidates. So one particular country has decided to feed ChatGPT multiple back-to-back with different user bases, multiple fake articles about a particular presidential candidate, and obviously that presidential candidate being Trump. Somebody was feeding, one particular country's government was feeding fake articles and fake news on purpose to ChatGPT, so it'll feed that information to people that are asking questions about Trump, to lie about Trump and say Trump is a bad person, Trump is manipulating markets, Trump is going to damage the economy, Trump is going to do so much bad things in the world, is what was going on. So, OpenAI, ChatGPT, was manipulated by, does anyone want to take a guess which country's government was manipulating ChatGPT to give out bad information on Trump on purpose? Does anyone want to take a guess which country this was that was feeding malicious information to ChatGPT on purpose to give out bad responses to the retail section? Whenever they ask, is Trump a good person? ChatGPT pretty much say, no, because he will do this and that, is what was happening. Anyone want to take a guess which country was essentially feeding ChatGPT on purpose bad information about Trump? Take a guess which country it was. Okay, thanks for the information, that Miles. No problem, Joe. How will Ripple's stablecoin make the price of XRP go up? How will Ripple's stablecoin? It wouldn't really affect XRP token itself. It wouldn't really affect XRP token itself at all regarding the Ripple stablecoin, but it will bring attention to the XRP ledger, which brings attention essentially to the XRP token. So it's not like it would have a direct, essentially, flow of funds happening to XRP token because of Ripple stablecoin, but it will have an indirect effect. How do you think the Ripple SEC case do you think the Ripple SEC case was a fake? It's a possibility of one scenario, yes, one out. Let's go, CMF. Are you rolling with us? Share the program. Let's go, Scott. I vote Russia. Orvan votes Iran. Shelley says Iran. Yep, Iran. Iran was the country. The Iranian government was feeding ChatGPT false information on purpose about Donald Trump. Because, as I said previously, Iran is very, 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 very scared of Donald Trump and his actions. And on that purpose, Iran's government, this is a very new law for Iran's government, very new law. Iran's government was feeding multiple fake articles to ChatGPT, multiple fake information to ChatGPT, back-to-back, multiple user accounts to manipulate the algorithm. So it will give out fake information about Trump. So if anybody asks, does Trump have any good policies? ChatGPT will say, no, it doesn't have any good policies, this and that. So OpenAI battles Iran-linked accounts using AI for US election misinformation. US election misinformation is what Iran was pretty much doing, the Iranian government. OpenAI has intensified its crackdown on Iran-linked accounts, exploiting its platform to spread misinformation about the US presidential election. The recent surge in these activities has gathered significant attention, especially after Donald Trump's election campaign reported a security breach linked to Iranian hackers as well, to Iranian hackers. The AI firm has identified and banned numerous accounts associated with Iran's influence operation dubbed Storm 2035. The operation that the Iranian government has going on right now, the operation that they have going on right now, is spreading misinformation on purpose about Donald Trump. That is what the Iranian government is doing right now. The Iranian government is spreading misinformation on any platform they can about Donald Trump, and they're calling it Operation Storm 2035. Targeted misinformation across various topics. The account used OpenAI's generative technologies, particularly ChatGPT, to create and essentially decimate false information on various topics, with a strong focus on the US election. These operations involved producing both long-form articles and brief social media comments shared across multiple platforms. The topics ranged from the US election to the Israel conflict situation and to the Olympic Games and others. Iran was not just manipulating US essentially elections. The main target was manipulating information on US elections with ChatGPT for Iranian government. But it also was manipulating what you would ask on ChatGPT regarding Israel. It would say extremely bad things, or regarding the Gaza situation, it will lie, or regarding Israel, it will lie, and so on. Iran in general was manipulating ChatGPT in their favor, because if Trump comes into power, Iranian government pretty much goes into a halt. If Trump comes into power, the situation with Israel and Gaza will come to a halt as well, which means Iran's money-making machine comes to a halt as well. So they were spreading multiple misinformation about multiple things that will benefit them in the future. Moreover, and by manipulating the AI, ChatGPT, it manipulates users who use ChatGPT on information to get brainwashed. So people were getting brainwashed from ChatGPT on false information because the Iranian government was feeding ChatGPT essentially false information. Moreover, OpenAI classified the operation as a threat based on Brookings' breakout scale, noting that the post received engagements. Despite the impact, the firm recognized the importance of monitoring and preventing such foreign influence operations, emphasizing the need for heightened vigilance. OpenAI's broad commitment to AI ethics. Significantly, the AI firm's investigation revealed that the operations targeted both progressive and conservative audiences. The accounts posed as legitimate news outlets and social media users. The accounts the Iranian government were using, they were posing as legitimate news companies on OpenAI, feeding in information. Comments, they appear authentic, so they all appear genuinely authentic. This tactic underscored the sophisticated nature of the operation, despite its success. They're saying it's limited success, but they don't want to say how much the success was. Besides the timings of OpenAI's announcement, it is notable coming shortly after Trump's campaign reported a security breach attributed to the Iranian hackers. The company's actions highlight its broader commitment to transparency and the ethical use of AI, particularly in safeguarding political processes from foreign interferences. Ben, OpenAI's principal investigator for intelligence and investigations, stated that this was the first instance where the company detected an operation successfully targeting US elections. This was the first time somebody was able to infiltrate ChatGPT successfully. The Iranian government were the only ones who were able to ever successfully infiltrate ChatGPT to give out fake information on purpose about Trump, about wars, all in their own favor. He stressed the importance of staying alert but maintaining calm, as the operation had minimal reach, is what they're saying, but they're absolutely lying through their teeth. Additionally, the report contributes to the growing evidence of Iran's tech-centric attempts to influence the US election. Iran is 1,000,000% influencing this US election. And do you know who they're influencing it towards? Kamala Harris. The Iranian government want Kamala Harris instead of Trump. Trump will put an end to the Iranian government. Kamala Harris will feed the Iranian government money. The same way Biden feeded the Iranian government money on purpose, and then about a week later we had this Israel situation with Gaza. So about a week later we had this random war start out in the Middle East. After Biden gave Iran money in the billions, a week later a war starts. There's no coincidence whatsoever. This war is benefiting Iran and the US. This war that's happening right now is benefiting Iran and the US. There's no such thing as anybody caring about anyone. It's about money. War is about greed and power. I've always said this. So Iran is actually advocating for Kamala Harris. If you always wanted to know, are you on the right side of history? The Iranian government, who essentially make their own people have miserable lives, are advocating for Kamala Harris. If you ever wanted to know, are you on the right side of history? The Iranian government is advocating for Kamala Harris. Are you on the right side of history if you're with Kamala Harris? If the Iranian government is with Kamala Harris? I mean, honestly, if you ever want to know, are you on the right side of history on this presidential election? The Iranian government is with Kamala Harris. The Iranian government is actually also funding some campaigns for Kamala Harris as well through shell companies. That if you lead back to multiple shell companies, it comes to the Iranian oil heads. So as an American, ask yourself, do you want to be with somebody that supports the US, or do you want to be with somebody that is being backed by the Iranian government? Hoping your answer is somebody that supports the US, not somebody that's being backed by the Iranian government. The US answer is better. Now, PayPal is the next topic we're going to talk about tonight's live show. PayPal's Peter, co-founder, essentially PayPal's co-founder, was on a talk show with Joe Rogan, and he discussed essentially Bitcoin's potential and how the regulations aren't catching up to the innovation that's happening inside the crypto space inside the United States, which is absolutely facts. But before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section first. The US, European Union, the UK, China, and let's go. Every single one of them. Is it realistic to believe that XRP will be $100 by the end of 2025, 2026? Consider variable change. You get 3 green lights, anything's possible. Every country, even if you don't know them, they caught them putting their head on him. To be honest, they went after him as soon as he got out of office. They never liked him, even when he was in office. That's true. Let's be honest, the way Trump and Elon interview went with, I think the whole world is against him. It's true. You know, a lot of people right now are against Trump and Elon Musk. If you are against Elon Musk, then you're against freedom of speech. There's no other way to put it. Anybody that goes against Elon Musk, you're willingly saying, I'm against freedom of speech. If you go against Elon Musk, you're against freedom of speech, because Elon Musk is the only one on this planet pretty much giving you freedom of speech. Just to put that in perspective of how vital this is. He's the only one on this entire planet that's giving you freedom of speech, Elon Musk. And some people don't understand how valuable that is. And you've also got to understand how much Elon Musk is putting on the line when he's giving you this freedom of speech. Because your own governments won't give you freedom of speech, but Elon Musk will. And some people are going against Elon Musk, and they hate Elon Musk. And it shows that how people can be brainwashed to go against freedom of speech. Imagine how much brainwashing you had to go through to say no to the only man on this planet who's giving you freedom of speech. Genuinely, just think about it for a second. Imagine how much brainwashing someone has to go through to say no to Elon Musk and to the X platform, knowing that this man is the only man that can give you freedom of speech. Just genuinely think about how much brainwashing does someone have to go to reject freedom of speech. Good evening, Miles on CMF. Let's go. Mike, how you doing? How you been? You don't have to ask me twice. We will let me go to school so I can learn about it, Lord. You got to give kudos to Elon Musk. Big gamble, definitely. You have to give your hat off to him, 100%. 100%. Now, PayPal. PayPal's co-founder was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Miles, I assume USDT is not used in Iran then? No, USDT is heavily used in Iran. USDT is heavily used in Iran right now. Because USDT is funded by the Chinese investors. And USDT is mostly printed on Tron, which is Justin Sun, which is the same man that won't set foot inside the US in case he gets pulled into prison alongside Sam Beckman and CZ. But yeah, no, Iran heavily uses USDT because it's funded by the Chinese. Why wouldn't they? For them, but yeah. But they'll never use another. I mean, the Iranian government won't use any sort of stable coin that the US has influence of, unless somebody on this planet can remove the Iranian government. That will be a day to celebrate. Honestly, if anybody can just replace the Iranian government with the Shah, that'd be excellent. Now, PayPal. Really though, funding Trump, I thought. They are funding Trump, I thought. Yeah, they are behind Trump, but also the Iranian government used it as well. Money's money. It's just, greed and power. PayPal's Peter, co-founder, warns society isn't ready for Bitcoin's potential. In his recent appearance on Joe Rogan's Experience, PayPal's co-founder Peter discussed Bitcoin, stating that despite its immense potential, society is not fully equipped to manage its effects. So Peter's remarks have sparked a lot of discussions among people who are closely following how cryptocurrencies is developing, its influence on the world system. Peter, a pioneer in finance, emphasized that Bitcoin signifies more than a passing trend. It represents a significant shift in how financial transactions could be carried out in the future. Despite recognizing Bitcoin's power, he expressed concerns about society and economic institutions needing to grasp this transformative shift fully. He warned that Bitcoin's rapid growth might outpace readiness, leading to challenges. Peter highlighted Bitcoin's impact and suggested that its rapid rise could surpass society's ability to adjust effectively. He pointed out a gap in understanding people are eager to adapt Bitcoin without comprehending its broader consequences. This lack could pose a risk as Bitcoin becomes more integrated into systems. Moreover, Peter raised doubts about whether current regulatory frameworks and financial institutions are capable of managing Bitcoin's potential. He mentioned that the current systems might face challenges in keeping up with Bitcoin's progress, potentially leading to obstacles as Bitcoin pushes against financial practices. Peter's statement suggests that while Bitcoin has the power to transform, it also brings hurdles that need to be addressed for its integration into the global financial landscape. Peter's remarks highlight the necessities of understanding Bitcoin's role in the shaping of futures finance. He proposed a proactive step should be taken in Bitcoin's impact expands to tackle risk and ensure a shift towards an economic driven by cryptocurrencies. Peter's recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience has sparked renewed discussions about what lies for Bitcoin. His alerts regarding society readiness to navigate through Bitcoins act as a crucial prominent for governments, institutions, and the public to prepare for upcoming changes. So, Peter, PayPal's co-founder, recently went on Joe Rogan's Experience podcast, and he discussed the ideas that Bitcoin is rapidly moving quickly ahead, while as the regulations aren't catching up quick enough. I would argue yes and no, because some jurisdictions, in terms of regulations, they're moving rapidly. In terms of the UAE is moving incredibly quick on regulations. The EU is moving quick on regulations. Singapore is moving quick. Japan is moving quick. Hong Kong is moving quick on regulations, very fast on regulations. So is Bahrain, so is Kuwait, so is Saudi Arabia. They're all moving very fast on regulations. So is India. And the UK is interesting, moving a bit fast on regulations. Well, Brazil is moving incredibly quick on regulations. It's just the US. It's just Gary Gensler who's just slowing down the whole process of regulations. But in terms of other jurisdictions around the world, they're actually moving rapidly quick in terms of regulations for cryptocurrencies. Now, the next topic on tonight's live show is regarding the Bitcoin that the US holds, which is the US government going to be selling off their Bitcoins? About a week ago, I revealed on this live show that some Bitcoins were transferred over, about $600 million was transferred over to the Coinbase wallet, which was a US government wallet, that the seized Bitcoins that were from Silk Road were in multiple US government wallets. $600 million worth was transferred over to Coinbase. Now, it's an indication of sell, but sell of when. It can also be transferred back. Arkham Intelligence was the one that essentially said who these governments belong to the US government. Arkham Intelligence is very intelligent in finding out which wallet belongs to which institution or which government. They also have ex-CIA, ex-NSA, ex-FBI members in Arkham Intelligence. So they did essentially find out which ones were the wallets that belong to the US government, which one were the seized Silk Road Bitcoins. So it turns out that Bitcoin on the move. US Marshals are sparking speculation of Silk Road asset sale. The recent operations of the US Marshals Service USMS raised interest in the crypto community, especially after the massive transaction with 10,000 Bitcoins. These Bitcoins associated with the notorious Silk Road were transferred earlier this week. This has sparked some concerns about the possible intentions of governments. According to finance lawyer Scott, these movements may signal acquisition is sooner to occur, potentially through Coinbase Prime. Now, there is a contract between the US government and Coinbase Prime, which is where the assets have been sent to. Johnson, who has nearly observed the USMS actions, notes that this transfer may have been conducted under a deal between the USMS, US Department, and Coinbase Prime. In most cases, the lawyer stated that the transfer of assets to Coinbase Prime qualifies as a sale. He noted that the assets had been operating in separate pools until then, which indicates that the sale might be in progress or is scheduled shortly. The comments made by the lawyer contribute to the existing speculation depending on the time of the transfer and its impact on the common markets. Speculation on the USMS intentions and investor concerns. These transfers have kept analysts across the globe, alongside investors, guessing about the intentions of the US government on the seized funds. Even though Coinbase Prime is an expected platform for sale, Johnson does not expect the assets to be transferred to other exchange platforms. Transferring funds to a mixed exchange address may suggest a sell-off, but it has not been essentially authenticated. It is even more interesting that these transfers took place amidst political volatility. Johnson insisted that the sale could have happened after the ex-president of the United States, Donald Trump, spoke positively about Bitcoin during his recent campaigns. As in, essentially Trump coming out doing a massive speech on the Bitcoin conference, talking very positively about cryptocurrencies, very positively about Bitcoin, about a week after the US transferred the money into Coinbase Prime. So people are suggesting, or this lawyer is also suggesting, that the sale could be happening based on what Trump said as well, to make Trump look bad in that scenario, for the US government to make Trump look bad. The connections adds a political perspective on the Bitcoin transfer, and facilitates the entanglements of market businesses with electoral politics. For Bitcoin investors, any transfer of such a large amount is a significant event coveted by all traders. Market analysts are now closely observing this, as a sale of this Bitcoin could affect the market. The timing also coincides with Vice President Kamala Harris' Crypto for Harris event, which hints at a deeper meaning behind the transfer. The interest in the US government's seizure of more than 50,000 Bitcoins linked to Silk Road has been present. The recent movement of 10,000 Bitcoins only fuels more debate on the potential future sales and their effects on the market. The last word on this development is yet to be said in the Department of Justice Assets Frontier Program FY 2024 report, which is expected to clarify the government's plan more. So the US is actually coming out with a report, a massive report on what is the US government going to be doing with this 50,000 Bitcoin they're holding. 10,000 has been sent to Coinbase Prime. It's confirmed. 10,000 for a while now, for about a week now. It's been sitting in Coinbase Prime. About 10,000 individual Bitcoins are sitting there right now from a US government wallet. But 40,000 is still with the US. The 50,000 that they did take originally. So if the US is going to be selling it, the question just remains, when are they going to be selling it? Are they going to be selling it on the basis of when the presidential election gets announced? Are they going to be selling it when Kamala Harris is doing her campaign for crypto for Harris, which is the dumbest thing ever, because Kamala Harris couldn't even explain to anyone how the cloud works? As I said previously, has anyone ever seen Kamala Harris trying to explain technology? It's the most laughable thing ever. But she's trying to do a Harris for crypto event. Let's see how that one goes. I've seen her try to explain how the cloud works and data storage, where she said you keep your files in the cabinet and now you keep them in the cloud, is how she was explaining storage, data storage. Let's see how she's going to explain blockchain technology. That should be interesting. But the question does remain is, when is the US government going to be selling that 10,000? Or is this just one psychological play where they sent it, to Coinbase Prime wallet only for it to be transferred back after a certain time period, and it's just one big massive psychological play on the market? So we'll have to see how that plays out, because the timeline is going to be quite interesting when they're going to decide to drop it or send it back. Because 10,000 Bitcoins is big. And this is coming from the US Marshals Department that sent it to Coinbase Prime. It's a contract that they have. The US Marshals has a contract essentially going with Coinbase Prime, which is definitely going to make the crypto market volatile. But volatile doesn't have to be a bad thing. If you ever wanted opportunities to pick up more cryptocurrencies, volatile is the best thing that can happen for you. Now, before we go through the next news, which is regarding European Central Bank CBDCs, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we were at. Let's see. Elon Musk does give the freedom of speech, yet he also had to kneel down to this regime when they stopped his ads and tried to remove him from Twitter. He had to apologize and shake hands. True. There are some serious dark forces out there. Yep, I agree. Regarding some serious dark forces out there. But he is the only man that still gives us freedom of speech. I mean, if I was doing this live show on TikTok, it was going to go well. Anytime you try to talk about CBDCs on TikTok, TikTok doesn't like it. When you talk about CBDCs, don't talk about it on TikTok. Even though TikTok claims it has freedom of speech, in reality it doesn't. If you talk about nonsense on TikTok, they'll let you talk about nonsense all day long. But if you talk about actual vital information, they'll try to, talk about CBDCs, but not just talking about CBDCs, actually hitting the spot on CBDCs is when it goes south. But I can do that on X. I can talk about CBDCs all day long and be accurate with it as well. But if I talk nonsense about CBDCs, TikTok will let it happen. But the moment you start getting accurate on your information on TikTok, that's when TikTok starts to slow you down. That's why X, honestly, Elon Musk, the amount of freedom of speech they do give you is incredible. The amount of freedom of speech you have on X. So, Miles, I know you don't forget nothing. Do you remember what that happened? I do. Don't get me wrong. I love Joe Rogan, but he needs to step it up a bit. If they sell it, they're going to do it in spite of Trump so they can fill their pockets more and leave him with less. That is also true as well. I mean, whenever they do decide to sell it, it's definitely going to be in spite of Donald Trump. They hate Donald Trump. The US government hates Donald Trump. The World Economic Forum hates Donald Trump. The International Monetary Fund hates Donald Trump. The Bank of International Settlements hates Donald Trump. They all hate Donald Trump because he's the only man standing up on their plans. Or the other outcome is He's also part of the plan and will just won't be informed. Because he's against CBDCs. Anybody that's against CBDCs is not going to have a very bright future in politics. If you are a politician and you're going against CBDCs, you're going to be replaced. Doesn't matter if you're prime minister or president or congressman. If you're against CBDCs, either you start changing your opinions or you start getting replaced. I said this a very long time ago as well. Now, because the groups behind CBDCs are too powerful for any politician or prime minister or president to go against. And we all saw what happened at Trump's rally when they started going against CBDCs. It means you're going against their main plan of social credit systems and CBDCs, which is the World Economic Forum, which is the Bank of International Settlements, which is the International Monetary Fund. If you go against these three groups, it's pretty much, you won't have a very long lifespan. Now, European central banks wants a digital euro. These four countries say no, apparently. So the European Central Bank is obviously coming up with their CBDC, EU CBDC next year. And the European Central Bank's plan to launch the digital euro and are being essentially resented by many people in Germany, Austria, and Netherlands and Slovakia saying no to CBDCs. These are the people saying no to CBDCs. But the EU is still coming out with CBDCs next year. Wholesale CBDCs first. So they get the companies around you accepting CBDCs, and then the retail CBDC comes, so you can use the CBDC. So the concern is that the central bank digital currencies will leave them dangerously dependent on the technology. They also worry that a CBDC would intrude on their privacy and put their savings at risk, which it will. CBDCs will put your savings at risk. You have no privacy on CBDCs. These people are all correct, but they have no choice. CBDC is going to happen, either whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. And I've said before, what you can do is either try to go against CBDCs, which is a losing battle, or accept that CBDCs will happen and then accept what is the backbone of CBDCs, which is pretty much Ripple. Ripple, as I said previously, 24,000 crypto projects, and only one has an active CBDC platform that's being used, has won multiple CBDC awards, and is on the list for the Bank of International Settlements cross-border payments PDF documentation alongside SWIFT. And you can either benefit from CBDCs, Ripple, XRP, or go against CBDCs, which is a losing battle. Why would you want to go for a losing battle? I'd rather choose the winning side than the losing side. And the winning side is understanding CBDCs will happen no matter what. Because I've realized there are too many morons in this world, and this world will never change. And as long as I know there are too many morons in this world, and the world will never change, and people are so easily brainwashed, I'm always going to be choosing the winning side. Genuinely. As long as I know that there are too many morons who get easily brainwashed in this world, so I'd rather choose the winning side, which is I know CBDCs will happen no matter what. Knowing that CBDCs will happen, I'm going to be choosing to benefit from CBDCs. I'm going to be choosing to benefit from CBDCs. It means I'm going for XRP. Because 24,000 crypto projects, and they're the only one with a CBDC platform that's active alongside the World Economic Forum, Bank of International Settlements, International Monetary Fund. So I want to benefit from CBDCs because I know there are too many morons out there. They will easily be brainwashed to use CBDCs. No matter how many times they try to fight it, they will end up using CBDCs because the majority of people on this planet are not too bright. If they were, we would not be living in this world. And because the group of intelligence in this world is about this much and the group of morons is about this much, CBDCs will happen. No matter what you think, CBDCs will happen. As long as I know they will happen, I've always said I'm going to be an XRP because I want to benefit from the morons. Simplest way to put it. Now, on that topic, these fears stem from ECB's pursuit of a CBDC, which will officially believed to be better than physical cash. Officials will vote on this implementation in late 2025. The ECB official told Bloomberg that the digital euro will be advanced safely in terms of features and privacies. It has no privacy whatsoever. Additionally, regarding the bank, it will ensure that the currency will be easy to use and available to senior citizens and new arrivals. The main concerns for people were essentially that the older generation won't be involved in the CBDCs, but the EU's taking care of that. About 2 nights ago on this live show, I told everyone that no matter what age group you're in, no matter where you live around the world, they want you in CBDCs, and everybody will be on CBDCs. No matter how old you are, if you have nobody around you, they will get you on CBDCs. So the EU is obviously taking care of these senior citizens. They will also be on CBDCs no matter what. And I also revealed that obviously the whole China super SIM card, where even if you have a 5G, 4G, 3G, or even a 2G phone internet connection, you will still have a CBDC wallet, even on your Nokia phones. It's called the Super SIM card. Additionally, the bank will ensure that the currency will be easy to use and available to senior citizens and new arrivals. In a statement in 2023, Christian Lagarde, the bank's president, World Bank, retreated that the digital euro will coexist with physical cash and its transactions will be free of charge. Do you know how they keep on saying, essentially, CBDCs, the World Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, keeps on saying that CBDCs will coexist alongside cash. CBDCs and cash will coexist alongside each other, is what they keep on saying, which is an absolute load of BS. Because already a lot of people around you don't accept cash. Banks are nowhere to be seen nowadays. A lot of banks have closed down since COVID. A lot of banks have closed down, and you know why? If you don't know why, it's because the World Bank was doing testings during COVID. Documentations are there. The World Bank was doing testings during COVID for blockchain technology. The testings were successful with the World Bank for blockchain technology, and then we had COVID at the exact same time. The World Bank was doing testings, which was successful. We had COVID, which made everybody move away from cash. They're getting people ready for blockchain technology since COVID. Blockchain was not mysterious. Blockchain was not a surprise tool. It was set up. So it's just about choosing your cards right and how to play the game properly. And on the basis of Christian Lagarde, so the Bank of International Settlements keeps on saying, cash will coexist against CBDCs, which is a load of BS. Already, a lot of banks are closed down, cash points are closed down, a lot of places, restaurants, bars, gyms, cinemas, you name it, a lot of places already don't accept cash. What makes you think that when we do have CBDCs launched fully, that cash will coexist? Cash already isn't accepted most places, and we're not even in CBDCs yet. But they're preparing you for the ideology of cash will coexist in the CBDC world. Most places don't even accept cash. We're not even in CBDCs yet. So I said this as well, and it's exactly what's going to be happening. The people that saying, cash is king, I will always use cash. Those people will be the same people lining up outside any banks that are still open in a CBDC world with their cash, going inside the bank to turn it into CBDC so they can use it in the real world. Because the people that are going cash is king are slowly going to realize that the cash they're holding in a CBDC world has no use, because nobody will accept it, and everybody's accepting CBDCs. So is it really optional if people around you are not accepting cash? If restaurants, bars, gyms, clubs, you name it, anywhere, if they're not accepting cash, is it really coexisting alongside CBDCs? Is it really optional to use CBDCs? No, but they'll give you the illusion of optional. The same way they give you the illusion of freedom of speech. It really doesn't exist. It's just all illusions. They'll just feeding you illusions, and people will, eat it up. This is why I say there are too many morons in this world. And as long as there are too many morons in this world, and the intelligent group is this big, and the morons are this big, I'm going to choose the winning side. And the winning side is CBDCs will happen, and I'm going to benefit from CBDCs by going for XRP to make money from the morons. But yeah, it's really not optional regarding CBDCs. But they'll tell you it will coexist. And already cash isn't accepted in most places. We don't even have CBDCs yet. But it will coexist. And the US politicians, especially these on the right, have essentially come out against the digital dollar. Republican candidate Donald Trump has vowed to fight CBDCs if he wins the 2024 presidential election, calling them very dangerous due to government overreach. They are government overreach, but they'll still happen no matter if Trump comes to the power or doesn't. It'll still happen, CBDCs. Trump was not a fan of Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies in general, but he is now the twice impeached former president who faces sentencing hearings for the 34th state felony on September 18th, has since embraced the industry. He currently owns about at least $1 million digital currencies. Florida's Republican governor, Ron DeSantis, also opposes the CBDC and other foreign essentially issued digital currencies. Other opponents argue that a CBDC would make it easy for governments to follow China's example and launch a social credit system. So other essentially government people inside the US are saying that China is the US and the rest of the world is slowly turning into China, which is exactly what's happening. And in 2023, when China was the only country in the world with a CBDC on paper and a social credit system on paper that was being tested, I said that every country, as I said, if you want to know where your country is headed, look at China. In 2023, I said, everybody can quote me on this. I said, if you want to know where your country is headed in 2023, I said this, look at China. In terms of CBDCs, China was the only one with a CBDC on paper, the only one with a CBDC, the only one with a credit social system, the only one that was building some sort of CBDC platforms as well, but the only one in general on that basis, the only one with expiry dates, seizing CBDCs, expiring CBDCs. I said, just look at China. If you want to know where your country is headed, look at China. And then you fast forward to 2024 today, Brazil launching CBDCs next year. EU CBDCs next year. Russia CBDCs next year. India CBDCs this year. They already have launched it, but they're expanding into it. Singapore next year. Hong Kong next year. Japan, they're getting ready for next year. In general, it's either going to be this year or next year we're going to CBDCs. And every country back then was against CBDCs, apparently, but they were all doing testings on CBDCs. And, regarding China, the whole freedom of speech, you don't have freedom of speech in China. The same way you don't have freedom of speech in Iran, but you don't have freedom of speech in China at all. And look what's happening around the world. The whole world is going into CBDCs. The whole world is going to go to social credit systems. And the whole idea of freedom of speech is becoming what? An illusion. So, every country is pretty much en route to become the next China, is what I said in 2023. And looks like I was right. So US government members are also saying the same thing. But again, if you want to benefit in the CBDC world, XRP. I mean, there's no easier way to put it. Honestly, 24,000 crypto projects, you have to be a moron to not see this plan. You genuinely have to be an absolute moron to not see this plan. 24,000 crypto projects. There are 24,000+ crypto projects out there. And some in data are having a competition. Data projects having a competition. AI projects are having a competition. Gaming projects, Web3 projects. And there is one project out of 24,000+ crypto projects with a CBDC platform that's active in use. That is with the Bank of International Settlements on a documentation titled Cross-Border Payments that has won multiple CBDC awards. Most people don't even know CBDC awards exist. It's with the Bank of International Settlements, with the International Monetary Fund, invited multiple times to do speeches as well. And with the Bank of International Settlements, Cross-Border Payments documentation, PDF, International Monetary Fund, multiple speeches as well. World Economic Forum, multiple speeches as well. Very close ties on that matter as well. Only one with this active CBDC platform, multiple CBDC awards, and people can't see it. And 98%, according to the Bank of International Settlements, of centralized banks are in CBDCs. 98% of centralized banks are in CBDCs. According to the Bank of International Settlements, the banks of all central banks, 63 centralized banks are under the Bank of International Settlements, including G20 and G7 countries. You have to be a moron, like a genuine moron, not to see XRP's potential in the long term. Within only 24,000 plus crypto projects, 24,000 plus crypto projects, and it's the only one with an active CBDC platform. And 98% of the world's centralized banks are in CBDCs, either in research, testing, or implementation testing. And some people go, nope, I don't see XRP's potential. Nope, I don't see Ripple's potential. Well, you're a moron. There's no other way around it. This is why I say the amount of intelligent people on this planet is about this much, and the amount of morons is about this much. And as long as the morons are basically outweighing the intelligent, I'm choosing the winning side. I want CBDC because I know CBDC will happen. So I'm going to choose Ripple. I'm choosing Ripple all day long. I'm choosing XRP all day long because I know CBDCs will happen because there are too many morons in this world. And most of those morons who are rejecting Ripple are not going to be benefiting from Ripple or XRP in a CBDC world. They're going to be on the CBDCs. So if you are a moron out there who is basically rejecting Ripple and XRP, you're going to be on CBDCs in the future, and I'm going to benefit from you being on CBDCs in the future. So thank you so much. There's no other way to put it. Trump knows exactly what. So CBDCs happening means regulations already in, which is unregulated stablecoin will be wiped out and additional will be in full force. Is this correct? On the verge yet? Let me go back up because I missed a few comments. Let's see where we were. Hi Miles, why crypto still? The market's in a stagnant stage, that's why. Let me go a bit back up. I think I missed quite a lot of questions. Yep. If they sell it, they're going to do an inspired chart. I think that's why I was. That's why they'll make sure he doesn't end up coming November. I think Gary the Weasel should be charged with treason as he's against America doing well. He's holding back the economy. After all the US Treasury is going to be moving on to XRP ledger, rumor or not? Rumor. I think Gary the Weasel is Russian. The Weasel is Russian. Or he's on the payroll. So basically, you're a moron if you don't hold XRP. Pretty much. Scary Shelley, facts. Hi Miles, why crypto is so still? The market's on a stagnant stage. Jim Roberts, we have to wait for traffic lights to change. 3 bloody green lights. Yes, thank you so much for saying that. These lights are making my hair grow, okay? Miles, last night I was cleaning out a bunch of old paperwork and storage. I found a Mackenzie Institutions article from 2016 on MasterCard, and I had to study that info, but I saw the last focus of mandate was blockchain technology. Nobody was talking about it then, but it was on their radar. Wow. Happy Pisces, thank you so much for letting me know about that. If you don't know who Happy Pisces is, she's inside the comment section. She used to work alongside JP Morgan. Happy Pisces used to work alongside JP Morgan, which is massive. And she worked with JP Morgan for years. And she's just revealed that last night she was cleaning out a bunch of old paperwork and storage, and she found a Mackenzie's Institution article from 2016 on MasterCard, and that she had to study for that information back then. But she saw the last focus of the mandate was blockchain technology, which nobody's talking about, and it was on her radar. Happy Pisces, can you please send me a picture of that as well? Absolutely amazing. Excellent find. Jim Roberts' brother, this is I've been waiting for the last 2 years. Braun is running away from us. Not running away. So CBDCs and American Express I represented. Yes, she did. Happy Pisces also represented American Express and JP Morgan. So CBDCs happening means regulations are already in. Regulations are coming in is more like, but yes. Which means any unregulated stablecoins will be wiped out and adoption will be enforced. Yes. We need more regulations and adoption and wait for SEC to appeal another 6 days. Yep. Trump knows exactly what CBDCs, and he knows that they are coming, and he knows that nothing can be done about it. He just hasn't let the cat out of the bag yet. I agree with you, JP. Which comes back to the factor of he's just playing all of us as well. It's the same scenario. It's going to happen either way. An American Express I represent too. How do I send it to you? Just send me a picture. Send me a couple of pictures of that documentation on Telegram. Send it to me on Telegram. Now, onto a quite disturbing topic, which is AI technology, but instead of blockchain for data storage, human brains for data storage in Switzerland that you can rent. You can rent human brains for data storage for AI purposes in Switzerland. So, interesting and disturbing at the same time. Swiss technology firm launches AI made of human brain cells rental service. Swiss technology firm Final Spark recently launched a program that follows, or essentially that allows scientists to rent cloud access to biocomputers made out of human brain cells for a mere $500 a month. For $500 a month, you can rent out brain cells. Some people might actually need them. But putting that to one side, but you can rent out $500 a month. You can rent out brain cells for data storage. The purpose of these biocomputers from Switzerland, the purpose of these biocomputers, according to Final Spark, is to develop a highly efficient, low-energy solution to ballooning costs associated with developing artificial intelligence models. I mean, this is definitely a very eco-friendly way of creating this type of situation. You don't need massive computers and electricity on that basis. You're just using human brain cells. But disturbing either way. But the company says it could be as much as 100,000 times, 100,000 times more efficient to use computers made of organic materials to train AI than it is traditional silicon-based technologies. So this Final Spark company based out of Switzerland could become as big as Nevada, basically Nevada, the computer chip company in the US. It could become bigger than Apple if it continues like this in terms of making computer chips. Genuinely, I mean, if this company figures out how to use human brain cells for mining Bitcoin, for example, because 100 times more efficient than any sort of man-made computer programs or man-made computer chips, the brain is 100,000 times more powerful. So this company, Final Spark, which is not went public yet, as far as I'm aware, could definitely be a company to look into in terms of IPO. The company says it could be as much as 100,000 times more efficient to use the brain cells, is more efficient than computers made from organic, from the Silicon Valley traditional companies. According to Final Spark founder Fred Jordan, NeuroSpark is the only company to offer access to computers made out of clumps of human brain cells called organoids. Their technology can be viewed live online. Training brain cells. Traditional brain. Just want to point this out as well. Do you see how powerful brains are? Do you see how powerful and essentially brain cells are? Why don't most people use their brain cells? Why don't most people use the full potential of their brain? I don't know why some people just decide to be brain dead, or sorry, not brain dead, brainwashed. Where they're using essentially brain cells for powering AI technology, which is 100,000 times more efficient than AI tools and data storage. And most people in this world decide to essentially not use their brains. Traditional methods for training AI models often included a technique called reinforcement learning, where an AI model is given a reward for completing a task. Typically, this so-called reward is merely a numerical value used to help calibrate how closely behavior was to intent to outcome. However, in order to provide positive and negative reinforcements when training AI models made of neurons inside of organs, scientists have used techniques that work on brain cells. This involves feeding neurons dopamine, a molecule associated with reward, as a positive reinforcement and electrical signal as a negative reinforcement temporarily. So, temporarily living AI. Final Spark says its organoids can live for up to 100 days. Theoretically, this means an AI system can be trained and opted for a few months before it would either have to be shifted to another cluster or face being lost forever. A longer scales, perhaps it could become possible to create AI systems with lifespans similar to our own as a method for aligning the artificial intelligence experience with humanity's. It is also a hypothesis that possibly that one day we could build blockchains running on computers made of organic material. So Final Spark is aiming for using brain cells in labs for one day of a possibility of running blockchain technology on human brain cells in a lab that you can rent out in Switzerland. So yeah, Final Spark, new company on the block, created essentially data storage using brain cells that you can rent for $500 a month. And use that for AI technology. Is 100,000 times more efficient than any sort of man-made Silicon Valley hardware device, is what they said. It's 100,000 times more efficient, and you can rent it out for a few months, but they'll then transfer that to another brain cell and so on and so on. But it's $500 a month for storage, and the company has not went public yet. But in their words, if they continue this path, it's very, very weird, but in their words, is a lot more efficient than using electricity for large warehouses to mine Bitcoin or to use it for AI technology. Instead of buying wind turbines or solar panels or using electricity for grid grids and to causing massive carbon dioxide issues, you can just use brain cells in labs and rent them for $500. So Final Spark, based out of essentially Switzerland. If you want, I mean, it's definitely a company that will most likely go public one day, and it could become a massive company without a doubt if they continue this path. Is what they're doing is correct? I don't think so, personally. But let's just see how far they get. But I'll keep people updated on the matter as well, because it's an AI company, data storage company that is doing something that's never been done before. And they've taken it to stages that's never been done before either. So I'll keep people definitely update on that matter. If anyone wants to go for their public IPO when they do launch, they're based out of Switzerland. And you can rent out brain cells for $500 a month. It's 100,000 times more efficient than using data storage from Silicon Valley, and more eco-friendly. Now, but I mean, if they just rented out brain cells to some people as well, it might not be a bad idea. Some people are very easily manipulated, so extra brain cells could really help them. Let's go to the comment section first. So CBDC is happening means regulation. Nope, we were here, I think. Yeah. How do I send it to you? As was Mr. Demon. Well, those Swedish scientists will not get much out of camera brains for AI because the brain cells are what, single digits in number. True, so it's what I mean. I will donate it to Sleepy Joe and Elizabeth Warren and Gary Gensler. I will buy the brain cells. It's not a bad idea. If we all chip in, we can donate some brain cells to Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren and the other moron inside the banking department, the FDIC. And Kamala. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Maybe we could give Kamala Harris some brain cells, or Sleepy Joe. I think it might be too late for Sleepy Joe. Brain cells won't fix Sleepy Joe. Brain cells, yeah, no. For Sleepy Joe, it's a bit too late regarding buying him extra brain cells. I don't think it's going to fix him in any sort of way. He's just Sleepy Joe for the rest of his life until, you know. But Kamala Harris, I mean, if we all chip in, we could buy her some brain cells, and we could buy the other one brain cells as well, Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren. Sorry, I forgot about Kamala Harris. Yep. Miles, I will rent out my brain cells then. Rent out my brain cells. Left-handers are always easy to make minds. This is BS. They are creating Frankenstein. Pretty much, yeah, they are creating Frankenstein. It's an interesting way to put it, but yeah, this is why I say it's also, you know, sounds a bit wrong. It genuinely sounds a bit messed up. And I don't know where I stand on this matter whatsoever. I don't know where I stand on this matter, but I'll keep my eye out on this company based out of Switzerland. And I'll update everyone on this live show, just in case if you want to go for the IPO. I mean, if they are building something that's 100,000 times more powerful than any computer chip on this planet, it's something you might want to look into. If it's 100,000 times more powerful than any computer chip on this planet, then, you know, maybe some people want to look into that company for their IPO. So, Cyborg. Yeah, basically, Cyborg, Fraser, is what's happening. So, on this live show, brain cells, renting out brain cells for $500 a month. We also went through the European Central Bank. We went through the topic of European Central Bank in terms of CBDCs on tonight's live show. We also talked about the topics of Bitcoin regarding US Marshals. We also went through regarding is the US going to sell off their Bitcoins. We also went through the topic of PayPal regarding their co-founder and how the progress on regulations are going on a Joe Rogan episode. We also talked about the topic of OpenAI being manipulated on their ChatGPT results by the Iranian government, and the Iranian government was manipulating ChatGPT with fake articles to say bad things about Trump when the retail section would ask ChatGPT, is Trump a good person? Does Trump have any good values? ChatGPT would say no, and so on, and it was because the Iranian government was infiltrating ChatGPT to give out fake results on Trump. And obviously OpenAI realized after a while. And also we went through the topic of Chinese banks rejecting Russia in terms of payments. And that is the reason why Russia has decided to use cross-border payments, and as in terms of a policy that's coming in Russia in terms of cross-border payments for cryptocurrencies, is because China doesn't want to accept Russian payments anymore. Even though they're BRICS members, China is scared of getting sanctioned next, essentially. We also talked about the topic of Turkey regarding cryptocurrency licensings on tonight's live show. We also went through the topic of Goldman Sachs regarding their reports and their analyst perspectives on the matter of Fed rate cuts, and they're calling it a serious cut, but also they're saying that there is no recession on the way, is what Goldman Sachs is saying. There is zero chance of a recession right now because we're going through elections, but after, it's possible. We also talked about the topic of Brian Armstrong and Elon Musk discussing matters of freedom, essentially discussing matters of regarding the US government printing too much money and wasting it. We also talked about the topic of Franklin Templeton filing for their crypto index fund, which is massive news about Franklin Templeton coming inside the crypto space. So, well, if you enjoyed this, we have pretty much essentially came to the endings of tonight's live show. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching this on X, drop a follow, drop a like. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I'm streaming to both of them like every single night. And also, this has been episode 131, but for some reason it says 127 on X, but it's 131. It's going to be fixed. It's just the platform that I'm using, Restream, is having some bugs in the system, which is why it shows episode 131 on YouTube, but it shows 127, episode 127 on X. But it's actually 100, episode 31. So I'll point that out as well. Now, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like. We have reached the endings of tonight's live show. Also, if you just tuned in now and you don't know what this is, it's basically you can tune into this live show. It's called the Crypto Mouse Family, which is essentially the CMF live show, stands for the Crypto Mouse Family. And I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, things that are vital information for you to know that the world is definitely changing onto a digital future path. And you can tune into this live show every single night on X and on YouTube at the exact same time, which is around 11:30. If you tune in UK time, you're pretty much in the live show. So, drop a follow, drop a like if you enjoyed this live show on YouTube. Subscribe if you already haven't. Drop a follow, drop a like on X as well. And we have reached the endings of tonight's live show. So, I'll be seeing everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual, for episode 132. You're too funny. I'm laughing out loud about the brain cells. It's too late for Biden. Let's go, G. And the next day we'll try to bring the dead alive again. Great show. Thank you, Miles. Susie, see you tomorrow sometime as usual. Carol, good night, Miles. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. Thanks, Miles, for everything. Scott, see you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. By the way, we have a Telegram group as well, which anybody's more than welcome to join. The Telegram group is on X. If you watch us on X, the Telegram link is on X. If you click on my link on my profile, you can see the Telegram link there. Or if you watch us on YouTube, the Telegram link is also there as well. See you tomorrow, Pablo. See you tomorrow sometime as usual. It took a lot of smart people with a lot of smart brain cells to come up with this idea. No pun intended. The pun was there, but yep, no pun intended. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks for the news. Free and forever. See you tomorrow sometime as usual as well. I will see everybody tomorrow. Miles, I got your back. Hoo-ha. Literally. Let's go, Scott. I will see everybody tomorrow. Same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. I was your host, Miles. And tune in tomorrow, same time as usual. You rock, Miles. Happy Pisces. Thank you so much for the kind words. I'll see you tomorrow as well, same timing as usual. I will see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Thanks, Miles. Good night, everyone. Or see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Much appreciated. See you all tomorrow. Shelly, see you tomorrow, sometime as usual as well. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world, CMF. See you tomorrow, same time as usual.